In a 2,000-year-old Roman painting known as the Severan Tondo, 4 members of a royal family sit together. But look closely at the bottom left. One child's face has been violently scraped away, leaving a jagged, brown scar on the wood. The damage is deliberate. It is the result of a precise legal decree known as Damnatio Memoriae, the formal condemnation of memory. In the ancient world, power was tied to legacy. Emperors operated on the belief that to secure control over the future, they had to systematically delete their political rivals from the past. But completely wiping a human being from the historical record is a massive logistical challenge. The physical effort required to erase someone almost always leaves behind a glaring, empty footprint that outlives the original victim. By the 1st century, the Roman Senate had lost much of its democratic authority, functioning as a subordinate body to the emperor. That power dynamic peaked during the 15-year reign of Emperor Domitian. He was a ruthless micromanager who stripped the Senate of its remaining influence and moved the seat of power to his private court. In the year 96, court officials finally assassinated him. The moment he was dead, the Senate moved to strike back at the man who had spent a decade humiliating them. They issued a formal decree to punish his ghost. They ordered crews to shatter his statues, chisel his name off public arches, and melt down the imperial coins bearing his face. The Senate's systematic destruction of Domitian showed how the historical record could be used as a political ledger, one where a rival's influence was balanced through state-sanctioned vandalism. While Rome formalized this practice, the tactic existed long before them. In ancient Egypt, succeeding rulers systematically chipped away the face and name of Pharaoh Akhenaten to delegitimize his religious reforms. Yet, across any sprawling empire, total physical erasure is nearly impossible. People still remember the ruler, and millions of stamped coins inevitably remain in circulation for years after a decree is signed. Modern historians point out that true forgetting was never the objective. According to scholar Polly Lowe, the state didn't actually want the public to suffer from amnesia regarding these figures. Instead, they relied on visible denigration. The blank space left behind by a chisel or a hammer was the intended message. When citizens walk past a monument and see a violently gouged-out gap, they are forced to recall the missing person's disgrace. The void makes the punishment visible. A botched erasure is a feature of the system. It transforms the missing person into a permanent warning to anyone who might challenge the current administration. In the 20th century, totalitarian regimes industrialized this concept, swapping out stone chisels for darkrooms and scalpels. The Soviet Union built an entire state-sponsored apparatus for airbrushing purged party members out of official photography. This visual scrubbing targeted executed dissidents and political rivals like Leon Trotsky. Once they were removed from office, they were removed from the archives. The 20th century approach carried a different psychological intent. Rather than leaving a rough scar to warn the public, Soviet censors closed the gap entirely to project an image of a flawless, unified state. While Rome left the void open to mark their enemies, modern regimes used the void to manufacture a history where their rivals never held office at all. Today, condemning a memory rarely requires a central government. In the digital age, the process has become decentralized. We now see societal erasure driven by public consensus, targeting figures whose extensive crimes are exposed late in life or after their deaths. Following the exposure of Jimmy Savile's decades of abuse, public institutions in the UK dismantled his legacy without a single government decree. They dissolved his charities, suppressed his television appearances, and even removed his cemetery headstone. The decision to expunge someone from the cultural record no longer waits for a legal trial. It happens through collective, institutional pressure to remove a toxic presence from the public eye. This decentralized chisel operates constantly on social media, where the collective goal is digital deplatforming, ensuring a figure is disconnected from the global conversation. But on the internet, every act of deletion leaves a metadata trail. Attempts to suppress a name often turn that name into a high-traffic search term, turning a digital purge into an accidental promotional campaign for the target's controversy. This is what historian Guy Boehner describes as the agents of memory. By actively trying to destroy a legacy, The vandals and the censors inadvertently ensure the subject remains at the center of public attention. True historical oblivion is quiet. It is the simple act of being forgotten. But the violent act of Damnatio Memoriae only guarantees that the target is locked into a permanent, loud state of infamy. Of legendary tactics and hidden histories, make sure to like this video and subscribe to Mythic Keep.